Hi guys. Now in this video you will see me talk a lot and I try to explain things. I hope I'm not too confusing when I try to explain things, because my native language isn't English, and by no means am I an expert on hydraulics, and this is even my first hydraulic build ever. So this is a big learning curve for me, and for the more experienced watchers out there, you might be screaming at your screen sometimes during this video, but it is what it is. Hi YouTube. So we have a new project on the workbench today. So this is the overcarriage of a Volvo EC550, and today I am going to build a hydraulic conversion for it. Now I have already printed all the parts, and in this video I will try to explain what components I use and where you plug them in. Actually, making this machine was entirely new for me. I've never made something hydraulic before. I have a couple of hydraulic machines myself, but I barely touch them. They don't need much maintenance. Actually, this was quite easy to assemble too. Compared to an electric machine, this was just snap and it was all done. You don't have to worry about endpoints. You don't. Yeah, there's so much less components to work with on a hydraulic machine, but the prices are of course steeper. This hydraulic system will cost a lot more than an electric machine. But then again, if you build this machine yourself, you 3D print the parts, you buy some steel parts, and you purchase the hydraulics yourself, this will still be a lot cheaper than buying a Chinese machine or a German machine, and you get the benefit of building it yourself. Anyway, I'm going to move on to the components now before we begin assembling this. So this is my hydraulic pump. As you can see, the pump is integrated into the hydraulic tank. This is where you store all the fluids, and you also have a measurement on the side here, so you see how much oil there is in it, and you got the pressure display right here. Now on this machine I plan on using maximum 2 MPa, which is down here. This pump can deliver I think it was 10, like it says right here, but I will never use that kind of pressure. So this is the screw that adjusts the pressure. The more you screw it down, the higher the pressure becomes. And this is where you of course fill your fluid. And these two ports on the back here, one on the top and the other on the back, they are return ports. So I blended one off because I don't need 2 return ports, and I got the other one in here. I had to blend this one off because it was too high. You can't put it in here, it will stick over the floor here. And then we got the pump port, which the pump pumps all the fluids from. It's on the front here. And that's the hydraulic pump. Now this is the valve block, or what do you call it? Yeah, let's just go with valve block. I don't know what it's called in English, but you got the inlet from the pump, goes on the top right here, and then you got 3 servos which controls the opening and closing of the valves in here. So these are the hydraulic lines that I bought. They are 4 mm outside diameter, and I think they were 2.5 mm inside diameter. I will confirm that before I release the plans for this. I will release the files for a hydraulic conversion on my Cult 3D account for everyone who wants to convert their Volvo EC550. So here we have the hydraulic lines, as I said. These connections, they are M5, and they actually came with the cylinders that I bought. So you just plug them on the end like this, and yeah. Now I'll show you the cylinders that I bought, and I think they are actually in here because I painted them. Give me a sec. So these are the hydraulic cylinders that I bought from AliExpress. They are a little too big actually. I bought the wrong size, but I will be using them because I don't want to spend that much money and throw them away. So this is the 20 millimeter outside diameter cylinders, and they actually make the same stroke and same total length in 16 millimeters. So I also ordered them. I will try them as well. I think the 16 millimeters will be a lot more scale looking than these, but I haven't received them yet, so we will be installing these on the machine today. The strokes and stuff, all that information will be shared in the files when I get this tested and done. Anyway, you guys, I think I'll just start assembling these parts, and I'll take you through the process of installing everything. I wish I didn't assemble this before I filmed this, but since I had to test it, right, I had to practice on this. And yeah, I even forgot to mention this component I see now. So this one will divide the hydraulic tube that comes in here into two outlets, which means you can run two cylinders on the same servo on the block. So this one will work with the boom cylinders on the front, since they are two that will cooperate with each other. And I will also put a link to this thing in the files. And also, before we begin building this, I should explain how the arms work, the new arms that I designed for this. Now this is the main arm, the boom, as you can see. Well, let's take it over here. So in this arm, we have steel reinforcements on the inside here. Let's turn on the lights. You can see, and now I've painted them, but you can see the steel lines here and here. So they are 2 millimeter thick. They go along the entire boom. And also these two mounts are 2 millimeters steel, and they go inside the boom here, and these screws lock them together. And on the inside here, there's a small adapter that you just drop in to make the screws attach to and clamp everything together. And we got ball bearings on the ends on the arms. This is pretty heavy too, actually, so I didn't want it to be that heavy, but since there's 2 millimeter thick steel on it, there's just no way around it, I guess. And also the same with the stick, the small arm. We have 2 millimeter steel on the inside, as you can see. And all the mounts are in steel. So this will never break. That's a good thing. You got ball bearings on the ends. Yeah, you also have ball bearings inside here. This is the mount to the boom. You can see the ball bearing in there. So, and this is the new boom mount that will go in here. Now, I gotta say too that this chassis, this is a standard EC550 chassis. This is the electric version, but the hydraulic version fits on the electric version. So you don't have to print a new overcarriage. You can convert your existing machine. If you already built one, you can convert it. So these are the boom mounts, as I said, and they also have steel parts on them. You got steel on the side here on the cylinder mount, and also on the inside there's a steel plate. Mine is now, I have to explain this because these are plastic on mine because I messed up on the first try. So I have the original boom mounts right here, and they don't fit. I didn't get enough movement on the arms, so I had to redesign it. I was able to use the same steel parts on the outside here from before, but on the inside I had to design something new. So these are plastic to me. I will try the machine with the plastic, but I do recommend that you get steel on the inside here as well. Now the mounts are the same. You just plug it down here and put in the screws. Anyway, that's a lot of blabbering for me, so let's get on with the build. So that's the new boom mounts mounted on there. Now I will try to slide all the hydraulic tubes through this hole and lay them out on the front here. And I got two holes here that will attach to these holes right here. So now that I have all the hydraulic stuff inside the chassis, I will try to fill some weights where there's room for it. Right now I probably have made a mistake by cutting out the rear wall and removing all the weights from the counterweight back here. I was hoping that this one is heavy enough, but it's not, so I have to try to compensate with filling weights around it and probably down here. We'll see. So I've drilled a hole on the underside of this chassis to mount into this tank right here. So I'm going to flip it over now and insert the screw so that this will sit tight. I don't want the pump to be moving around and hitting stuff in here, because this is an outrunner pump, which means that the outside of this motor, this shell housing, is spinning. So now the pump is secured and it's rotating freely. I think I might have to move this one at a later stage once I get the arms mounted up, and I think the hydraulic tubes right here might be a problem. We'll see once I get my arms on. So let's begin assembling the cylinders for the boom and we'll move on to the arms. So there's one more thing I have to explain, and that is that these cylinders, they have a bore of 8 millimeters. Now that 8 millimeters is actually pretty big, and I also made the steel parts 8 millimeters in the bore. This will be changed in the files. In the files I will put 6 millimeters on all the bores, because the 16 millimeter cylinders that I talked about earlier, they have a 6 millimeter bore, and if you plan on using these, or you have cylinders with 8 millimeter bores, you can insert a bushing inside here and still use them on the 6 millimeter steel parts. I hope this wasn't confusing, but I'm trying to explain something simple, and it's not so simple when I don't speak English as a native language. Anyway, moving on. I actually have these screws are 8 millimeters in diameter, and they fit perfectly in here. There's no slop or anything. The problem is for me right now is that I have to mount this one like this. So I have to take off these steps and push it in on the cylinder and then mount the steps afterwards, because the steps will lock this screw in place. I don't have to think about anything. And also from this side, the cabin that will be mounted here will lock this one in place. So we mount the cylinder up like this. I put the screws in here so that I don't get paint inside the holes, which would be kind of stupid. So we insert the screw. There we go. So that's one. And now let's do the other one. Let's remember to put it the right way, like this. There we go. So now I'm going to hook up the hydraulic lines to the cylinders, and I will be using these bushings. They came with the cylinders when I bought them, and they will be put on the nipples. Sorry, I had to say it. So I'm going to take out these screws. Sorry for my hands if they are in the way. It's hard to. I think that one's good. So I'm going to do the other one off camera, and I'll see you soon. So both of the cylinders are now mounted up. Now I feel like I should have some hydraulic pipes here instead of all these lines. I was searching for something like that on AliExpress, but I only found some, kits where you have to solder and everything yourself. If you know somewhere I can get the hydraulic pipe system in front of the boom cylinders, please post a comment down below so I can look into it, as I don't like really having all these tubes hanging out like this. I feel like they will bend a lot and maybe even cause some problems in the future. And I also installed the steps on the side here. Now you can see that the screw is locked in there, so it doesn't have anywhere to go. And yeah, moving on, we are now putting on the big arm and we are mounting the cylinders to it. Since I don't have steel plates on the inside here on this machine, I will try to jam some M5 or 5mm washers between the boom and the mount, just to get the boom to move a little smoother. Because if you run plastic against plastic, it will gain a lot of friction. So we don't want that. I'm pretty sure it's a tight fit with the washers, but yeah, I'm not sure if I can do it with the washers, but I'll give it a try. So we need to make a threaded rod to mount the boom. The boom is now mounted up, and I was able to put some washers in between there. Now this one I think buried itself into the plastic, but that's okay. And this feels pretty good. Now let's move on to the small arm, also known as the stick, and let's mount it up and we can begin assembling the other cylinders as well. I won't mount up these cylinders to the boom yet because they are all retracted right now, and I want to run them out a bit so that the boom gets a little higher up. So we'll mount them onto the boom later. Yeah. So I am mounting up the bucket to the stick now, and as you can see there's quite a lot of room between the bucket and the stick. So I will put some spacers in between there. So these are some simple ring locks that I bought off AliExpress. Now they have a set screw on the side, so you can just lock on to the threaded rods or other cylinder shaped things. So I think these will look a lot better than the lock nuts. As you can see on the top there, yeah, they look better. So now that all the links and arms are mounted onto the excavator, I can install the bucket ram and the stick ram on top. So with the rams in place, I can see that I need some spacers. We can't have this. So I'm going to draw up some spacers and print them out. So far it's looking good. The hydraulic rams are now mounted up and ready to operate actually. I printed these mounts for the hydraulic lines, and they will attach to the side of the boom here. So I'll go ahead and mount up those. It will make this look a little better. Now, I did order some parts that hasn't arrived yet. There's a new nipple for this cylinder that will make the hydraulic lines look a lot better. I will mount that once I get it, but right now we will use what I have. So here it is with the hydraulic line connectors. Yeah, it looks a lot better. Now down here I haven't designed a mount for the hydraulic lines yet, but I will create one for it very soon. I just have to figure out what to do down here before I design it. And now I can actually put in the battery, and I can run the rams out a bit and mount them onto their mounting points. So let's go ahead and do that. So after I unplug the hydraulic lines, I'm losing a lot of oil, so I have to fill up the tank now because it's starting to pump air. So you can see that it's dropped quite a bit. So I have moved the rams out, so now I can mount the arms. Let's move the bucket one a little more actually. There we go. So I'll put the rams on their mounting points now, and we already have a working excavator. Sort of. Everything is now assembled, and we can test run the arms and the hydraulics. So I'm going to plug in the battery again, and I'll run the arms up and down and see if we got any leaks. Before I continue, I will put some more weight on the back of it in case it tips over. I want to be on the safe side. Here you can see the pressure that I am running on right now. It's a little over 1 MPa, and still, even with that little pressure, it's very strong actually. So this is looking like a successful build. I'm still waiting on some parts though, so I can't finish this for a while at least. So I'm looking for leaks and I can't see any. There's a little oil sweat from when I disassembled the parts, but I don't see anything in the floors, and yeah, I think we're good. And also I gotta mention that these rams on the front for the boom, they are too short, and the new design will include longer cylinders for these boom mounts right here. They will make the boom raise higher and even a little lower actually. As you could see, they lower enough already, but we even have more lowering and more lifting. So don't worry guys, these are just for this personal machine. The design will have longer cylinders. Alright guys, so I can't wait to test this. I think it will work very good. Right now I'm waiting for some parts for it, and I can't really continue this build until I get them. I actually cheated and bought myself a steel undercarriage for this, complete with motors and tracks. And also I need to figure out where to put the weights. We need more weight in the rear. I'll try to look more into that, and of course the hydraulic lines right here, they can't look like that, so I have to figure something out. But that's for another episode. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.